Usually this sort of news used to make people a bit sort of terrified. It was always used as a way to, give you a few nightmares when you went to beddy buys. Always. But these days, this kind of news sort of falls under the radar. It doesn't seem that important. Like, not as many people are talking about it as they probably should be, but then they probably shouldn't be at the same time. What I mean by that is instead people would rather get outraged about, troll accounts pretending to be outraged about the Little Mermaid having a skin change. I mean, that's what people want to talk about. It's bizarre. But this used to be the proper talking points. And the thing is, what's going on now is just the UK and America is just engaged in more knob swinging contests. They sort of do it every couple of years. Like shoot down a drone, steer a ship into someone's waters, fly a plane over a border, kidnap some sailors. I mean, that happened. Ahmadinejad, a few years back, was being a proper wind-up merchant when there was, I think it was British sailors were held captive for a while. I think there was 8 of them. And he was just doing it to wind people right up, like having photos taken with them and stuff. They were shaking his hand. Do you know what I mean? This stuff's been going on for a long time. And there are those that will tell you, and these people believe, and it sort of makes sense because of history. There is a history with the UK and America wanting to take over Iran. They've been, failed and attempted coups. UK. You need to look at the history of Iran and UK and America. And the thing is that, they've always wanted to take over Iran. And what people may tell you, or you may have heard, is that when we invaded Afghanistan and Iraq, the idea was, we would surround Iran because you got to the east and to the west, and we'd have Iran surrounded, and we put in our tin pot puppet dictators in those countries, and essentially, we'd be owning Iran. We'd around you, like checkmate, bitch. What are you gonna do now? And they said, Iran's next. It's always Iran. Iran's next. They're gonna go for Iran. Iran's next. And these things happen every couple of years. They're definitely going for Iran. And it never happens. It's still not going to happen. It just never happens. They say they're definitely going to Iran. They would have done it already. Like, I'm pretty sure they would have done it years ago when it was, when people would have been more behind it. Do you know what I mean? When people probably would have backed it more. When fear was rampant after 9/11 and so forth. Do you know what I mean? But, and before ISIS, because obviously Syria wasn't on the to-do list. It's like, oh, got to deal with Syria now, have we? Jeez. And then every couple of years they just have these dick-swinging contests. Going, oh, look what we did. Oh, we're going to do this. Right? And, if they're actually going to go into Iran and invade it, just get it over and done with already. I'm getting bored of this. It's been like this for fucking decades. Like, we're going to have a war with Iran, are we? Are we? And people are bored. People are so bored of it. They'd rather talk about nonsense these days. The media is more concerned with nonsense than this nonsense, and I don't know which is better. Because this is sort of thing like, oh my god, I'm terrified. Nuclear war's coming. Oh my god, no, don't go to war with Iran. And it's not going to happen. Everyone's like, yeah, we're just not scared anymore. We'd rather just get angry about Disney films and shit. I don't know which is better, to be honest. I mean, not being scared anymore I suppose is better. It must be a shame for news outlets that the old fear tactics they used to use to get people to buy their pieces of shit and click on their crappy links just don't work anymore. So now they've got to make everyone angry and make very insignificant things important. Whereas this probably is more important, but again, it's a dick swinging contest. You see this cycle of nonsense. It's so depressing, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. Possibly. I mean, we'll go into it. Have a look. UK ships in the Gulf on high alert after Royal Navy trains guns on Iranian vessels. So what's happened is the ship's parked up, and they've seen a vessel, and they've just gone, right, guns pointing at you now. And that's news, is it? Like, oh, I'm pointing my gun at you now. Do you see what I'm doing? Okay, right, great. Fears commercial vessel at risk from gunboats following HMS Montrose's intervention. So British ships operating in the Gulf have been put on highest state of alert amid fears that UK-flagged commercial vessels are vulnerable to attack by Iranian gunboats. Are they? Probably not. I'd hazard a guess. It's like I said, they probably. What happened is they'll just go past, going, point the gun at them, and that'll be it, and then we'll all have a new story about that. Going, oh my god, and nothing will happen again. We'll be like, okay, brilliant, thanks for that, thanks for ruining my morning. Anyway, the day before, a Royal Navy ship trained its guns on Iranian gunboats that tried to disrupt the passage of an Isle of Man flagged vessel. Level 3 is described as equivalent to domestic security classification of critical, in which there is an imminent risk of an incident. I mean, how many words do you want to throw in something that's like, what? So level 3 is the domestic security classification of critical, in which there is an imminent risk of an incident. An incident? What kind of incident? I don't know, there's a commercial vessel, there's some gunboats in the way. An incident could be, it scuffs one of them. I don't know. It could be, fuck knows. The alert is for the 15 to 30 large British-owned vessels that travel through the Gulf every day. The UK said the commercial ship British Heritage, that's a fucking British ship, isn't it? British Heritage. Fucking was in disputed waters claimed by Iran. Disputed, people have disputes over patches of water. Isn't that always a fascinating thing? Well, that's my water. No, it's not. Why is it all fucking? There's like mermaids there and shit. We like it. Challenged by 3 Iranian vessels and ordered to move north, HMS Montrose then intervened, aiming its guns at the Iranian boats to ward them off. The UK, keen to de-escalate the crisis and preserve the international nuclear deal with Tehran, is reluctant to release the video of the incident, which was first reported by the US late on Wednesday night. Yeah. This goes on and on. British officials promised that the Royal Navy will be resolutely defending British maritime interests in the Gulf, but has no interest in escalating the situation. The threat to British shipping in the Gulf follows the seizure by Royal Marine Commandos of the Iranian-flagged vessel Grace 1. Not such a great name, it's British Heritage, is it, son? Off the Straits of Gibraltar last Thursday, that prompted Tehran to threaten reprisals. Ooh, my dad's going to beat up your dad. The tanker is suspected of breaching European Union sanctions by carrying a shipment of Iranian crude oil to Syria. The Indian captain of the ship and its chief officer were formally arrested on Thursday by Gibraltar authorities after a week-long investigation. Only a week? The ship remains detained, and Iran has denounced the actions as piracy. Documents and electronic equipment were seized from the vessel, a spokesperson has said. You got to feel sorry for like the Indian captain. He doesn't belong to either country, and he's caught in the middle of this bullshit. It's probably just doing his job, and he's caught in some political dick swinging contest. It's like, excuse me, boys, can you stop swinging your dicks at each other so I can go home and bang my wife, please, or my boyfriend? I don't know what he does. I have no idea. Maybe he likes pigs. Fuck knows. British Heritage had been due to collect oil in Basra, Iraq. It was always about the oil, wasn't it? It turned around on Saturday on the basis of British government advice. It was seeking to go through crowded waters without load when it faced an Iranian instruction to go clearly into Iranian waters. Oh, fascinating. HMS Montrose was forced to position herself between Iranian vessels and British Heritage and issue verbal warnings to Iranian vessels, which then turned away. Now, see here, bugger off you. And they did. That's right. The statement said, we are concerned by this action and continue to urge the Iranian authorities to de-escalate the situation in the region. Iran has rejected the claims. Foreign, of course. It's like they're all going to reject the claims, going, no, we didn't. The British were like, no, we didn't. It was you. No, it wasn't us. You did it. No, we didn't. What's the fucking point? Why does everyone just not talk? Why can't they just not talk and, like, leave us be? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I ain't saying shit. I go, do you know what? I'm done with you. I'm not talking to you anymore. We're done. I'm not saying it. Did you do it? I ain't telling you shit. No comment. Bye. Anyway, remarks to semi-officials, FARS news agency. Apparently the British tanker has passed what the British have said themselves, and the claims that have been made are for creating tension, and these claims have no value, Zarif said. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps also issued a statement denying involvement. The UK is waiting to hear detailed proposals from the US about a new international maritime security operation across the Gulf, but ministers appear to be nervous about the implication of the plans, pointing to the existing 33-nation coalition on shipping. Well, this is all very non-dry, fun stuff. The US proposal is likely to include a requirement for Asian countries to do more financially to subside the security operation, with Washington pointing out that the huge proportion of oil traveling through the Gulf is destined for Asian markets. Oh, okay. An attempt at economic retaliation against the US after Donald Trump pulled out of the 2015 nuclear agreement and imposed crippling sanctions on Iran. Sorry, I think that said more than I... No? Oh, sorry. Washington and Tehran came close to direct military... well, fuck it. A conflict last month when Iran shot down a US drone and Trump ordered retaliatory airstrikes, only to call them off minutes beforehand. The UK and other European countries have been trying to save the deal with which Tehran agreed to limits on its nuclear program in exchange for relief from international sanctions. Russia and China, both signatories to the nuclear agreement, along with the UK, France and Germany, called for restraint. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said freedom of navigation should be ensured in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, like I said, don't be scared. It's a situation like, walk along, there's nothing to see here. That's what this is. Fucking nonsense, a lot of it. Don't worry, this will die down in a few weeks and then it'll happen again in a year or so. So you have that to look forward to when someone will spit an Apache helicopter and then they'll point guns at each other for a week.